Thank you, gentlemen.
I emailed this out the other day, but
Thank
here's
you
on top
for
of it.
sharing that reaction.
Year-end transfers.
No, that's.
I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Could you not make this smaller?
I guess I could.
All the time, all the time.
Did you want that?
No, it's if brought in.
All right.
If you don't. Yeah, no, it's not.
You know,
Okay.
So this is part of the year-end audit every year. The Board of Finance needs to approve the year-end transfers between departments. This year, we're trying to still finish up the audit. I reached out to the auditor yesterday. He got back to me with what's still open. Most of the things that are still open is stuff that they need to review. We're really pushing them to try to get this audit done. But this is a piece that the Board of Finance needs to do before they can be done. We try to wait kind of as late as possible in case there's something they want us to move. The short story of it is the expenses versus actual, budget versus actual and expenses. The actual is $293,000 less than what was budgeted. My recommendation, and I spoke to the chairman on this, is because of the capital needs that we've seen recently, is we take 200,000 of that $293,000 and increase what we transfer to capital non-recurring. So really, instead of funding that in 22, $650,000, we'd fund it to the tune of $850,000. And that money, once this audit's done, becomes immediately a bit, well, actually, once you guys approve the transfers, that immediately increases the amount of money in capital non-recurring by $200,000.
So can I, is it time to question?
Yeah.
So I got confused the way you explained it, because you said 22. The CNR, you're saying we're gonna put 200,000 in this current budget,
Well, it's-
650 to make.
No, so what happens is in fiscal year 22, so what ended 6/30/22,
Yeah,
we pretty much go back to that point in time because
oh,
that's when the audit is done for.
okay,
And we add for that budget year, $200,000 more that goes in the CNR.
okay.
So
So currently
obviously,
it's not 650, but we're just gonna add it to whatever that balance is.
correct, but we're not updating anything budget related. We're just increasing the actual transfer for that year by $200,000. Last year, we did $100,000 into it. And we had paid down the paramedic program by $100,000 last year. I spoke to a couple people and I think it's time that we have a better understanding of what's going on with the paramedic program. So instead of paying down some of that debt this year, we kind of talked about, let's put more into the capital non-recurring.
Yeah.
Let's have the discussion on paramedic to see if there's ways to make that less costly. So, but that was kind of the discussion, I think, the 200,000, the 93,000 falls out to the fund balance. And the other piece of what would go to the fund balance is revenues, which the Board of Finance does not approve any transfers on. The actual versus budget, we collected $1,263,000, rough numbers, more than what was budgeted. So that 1.26 would go right to the fund balance once the audit's done.
But we don't need to make any
No.
on that.
So, but when's the audit gonna be done?
Hopefully by the end of this month. We're pushing as hard as we can. The ball's unfortunately they're not waiting on us. There's a couple things they still need from the Board of Ed because they audit both. But we're waiting on them to do more testing so we can pull more stuff, which is where we've been for months. The state and feds have put together some more mandated testing and reporting that they had to do, which was part of the holdup. Part of the holdup, my understanding is they just don't have the staff like everybody else. They just can't get enough staff.
So at the end of the year, what is the total that could be, so I'm sorry, by default, it's gonna go into the balance fund?
We still have
Yeah.
1.2 going into the balance fund that we don't need to act on. But the
Okay,
only
so
thing-
because by default, it goes there if you don't act,
Correct.
by no action.
Yeah, if the board doesn't want to add the $200,000 to CNR, that 200,000 would go to the fund balance.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
And you think that the 200 going in the CNR is a good number because of the wish list that we're hearing about?
yeah, and it, honestly, it gives the Board of Finance more control over it. CNR funds can be just approved by the Board of Finance. Fund balance,
Oh,
you need to go through a town meeting, you need to go through.
what do you mean? We transfer, we have a fund balance policy now that we transfer money
You
out
have
of there.
the ability to. You have the ability to, but even with that, anytime you touch fund balance,
Yeah,
you need to have a town meeting.
oh, okay,
Even if
so,
it's-
okay,
I believe, I know that it's true with purchases. I believe even if you're transferring anything fund balance, because we've never done it.
I thought that balance policy we did, I thought we were able to do
I
that.
thought that's why we did it.
I
Yeah,
think-
Cynthia, Bob,
yeah, I don't understand what Brad's saying, because I thought we had actually approved money to be taken out of the fund balance and made motions to that effect.
without town meetings,
Yeah.
right?
But any purchases you've done from fund balance have always gone to the town, to a town meeting.
No, my position on board, I've made motions to either take it out of balance fund or CNR in the same
But
night.
Brad's saying there was one more step, it had to go to a town meeting.
I don't know if that
Bob
doesn't sound-
Manfreda?
Yeah, my recollection of it is that it only has to go to the town meeting if it's above the $1 million threshold.
exactly.
Yeah, but like the purchase of the property on South Street went to a town meeting.
Because it's real estate. It's
Yeah.
property,
But we've never, so we have the policy, but either way,
it's
we-
its own thing.
Okay, so that being said, I think we should make a motion to put more available into the CNR so that because everybody's coming to us for
Yeah.
a capital list.
so
So
but
why wouldn't we, if your logic stands, why
Yeah.
wouldn't we put more than 200 in the CNR so we could start taking the capital list apart?
so you can do that. I don't think at this point we're looking, until the audit's done and we know
We don't have green
what
light
the
on
fund
that.
balance is.
How much is the fund balance now, Brad?
Over 18%.
It is, but it depends on if the state comes up with the money for the HVAC, because a lot of that's gonna come out of the fund balance. I don't have it was like 23. We did spend some of it. We spent some on the
Shooting.
firing range, which we don't have a final number
Maybe I
on.
misunderstand the HVAC. I thought that was based on a grant. That was contingent on a grant.
It is.
Yes, but we still have to
But-
pay money.
If we don't get the grant, we're not spending the fund balance portion of that
Right,
at the time, because they don't have any approval to do the work.
right.
So we don't really know what the fund balance number is gonna be until after we know whether or not.
We
that's
hear
gonna
about
be
the grant.
approved.
Bob Manfreda, I think we walked on it. Did you have something to add?
No, I was just saying, Brad, I think the merger of your technical point with John's kind of conceptual point is that we should wait to see what the audit confirms as the 6/30 2022 fund balance. And then kind of take what we think is right, consistent with what that new fund balance policy is, and put it into the capital non-recurring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's the two pieces. There's the expense side and the revenue side. Board of Finance, we know the expense side, you control whether or not you want to transfer that money or not. Once the audit is done, we can look at the revenue side. You could just let the whole 293 fall through fund balance and then deal with it all at once with the revenue piece if you choose to. You have the ability to tonight move the 200,000 if the board chooses to. Without having to wait till the audit's done, really.
Just because that money's available now.
Yes,
Right.
because it's expense.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so, because I want to keep going, I really want to understand it. So if we have a policy now to keep in the fund 18%.
Yeah.
We have the ability to take money out of that without a town meeting to go into our CNR account, don't we?
That's what we'll need clarification on, is does the fund balance policy allow you to do it without the town meeting? But I don't know, we've never done it.
I'm just not sure where the town meeting is coming in from. It's $1 million that has to be that has to go through a town meeting.
Yeah, but the only other times I think we've used The fund balance is to purchase property, which also has to go to a town meeting.
I think, I'm gonna look
Well,
back.
Brad, why don't, can you just confirm it? I think I'm getting the sense that the confusion among the Board of Finance members is that having the policy went to a town meeting, it was approved at the town meeting, and therefore the town decided to delegate to the Board of Finance how to move funds around between the unrestricted, I guess, at least 18% fund balance and other uses that we wanted to establish.
And I am really hoping that is the case. And you're probably right. We just haven't used the fund balance policy to do it before. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't want to say for sure that it doesn't need to go to a town meeting. Mostly, I don't know 100% if the fund balance policy makes it so you don't need a town meeting.
Well-
But, I'm sorry, so moving this money around, but we still haven't spent it, but if we spend more than $1 million, then it would have to be a town meeting.
If any one purchase.
In
over-
one chunk, if
Yeah.
we spent $1 million in one chunk, yes.
Right.
Can we get clarification on that? It doesn't
Yeah.
affect what we're
It
trying to do
doesn't affect
tonight.
what we're trying to do tonight, but yeah, I will get clarification on that.
All right, so I'm in favor of putting this money, obviously, in CNR.
Yeah, so I'd
So
like
we
to make
have
a
it.
motion that we transfer the $200,000 from that one account and we add.
The motion's gonna be to approve the year-end it includes it already.
Okay,
If you don't want to do it, then we could adjust this.
No.
But
so it's.
what's in front of you
approve the
includes the
transfer.
200,000.
So moved, right?
Mary, that's my motion, okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, and Bobby Joe seconded it. So is there any other discussion on this motion that made? Cynthia, Bob, Daleen? Everybody understand what we're doing?
But
Yes.
in
Dee?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
But in this discussion before we vote, can we have that information before the next meeting? No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, the next normal meeting, not.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna reach out to town council.
Excellent, thank you.
okay. So Bob, any other discussion on that?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'll take a vote. All in favor of the transfers?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
aye.
Excellent. Let the record- Thank you, everyone. I'd accept a motion to adjourn. Is that
So
it?
moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody on Zoom.
Okay, thanks. Good night, all. Bye-bye.
Bobby, second.
Thanks.
And did Will say?
So, I mean, you want